mean, I'm good.
All right, all right. What is going on, guys? I think we're live right now. I totally forgot to look at this on my other. I have two computers down here that I have up right now. So, is anybody in the chat? Can everybody hear us? Just double checking because we had a little bit of technical difficulties earlier. Unfortunately, we are not streaming currently on the CoinCrunch channel because of some downloads that weren't working and some really. You guys know how it goes. Just double checking because we had a little bit of technical difficulties earlier. Unfortunately, we are not streaming currently. I'm coming out of somebody. Turn the volume down on somebody's end over there.
Yeah, that's probably me. Sorry.
No problem, guys. So what's going on, guys? Is everybody rolling in? Sound is great. I like that. So Leo says sound is great. Awesome. So, guys, I'm actually here today with CoinCrunch, or at least half of CoinCrunch. And if you guys don't know Jeff from my admin group, he runs Quantalysis. It's an amazing, I don't know, what do you call it, Jeff? It's not a blog. What do you call it? What you
I'd say it's a crypto asset content site, whether you want to learn about crypto, mass adoption, or reviews of upcoming ICOs.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, basically Jeff runs that. Really, I mean, he does some great work, and CoinCrunch does some really great work as well. They are on the ground level. They're always going to all these blockchain conferences, getting in on the ground floor. And I know a lot of people were asking about, newer projects and these, I hate even calling them ICOs because the term ICO has such a terrible stigma with it. But basically, just like startups and projects and stuff. So yeah, I mean, Dan, not Dan, Sia, do you want to say? Would you want to just say what up to everybody? I mean,
Yeah, for
introduce
sure,
yourself?
guys. Sorry. So I sort of screwed up the live streaming aspect of it. I'll admit it's the first time live streaming, so I thought we could just do it on YouTube. I didn't realize we need to use another program, so that's why the hold up is here. But yeah, thanks a lot for hosting this. I'm really looking forward to speaking with you guys today and just shooting the shit and talking about crypto and ICOs and this crazy video game world that we live in.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess what most people were asking about was, oh, there are two of me. Oh, you guys are right. Somebody just pointed that out. Hold on.
Yeah, it's a K-Dub fork.
Hold on. Nope, wrong one. Okay. Thank you, somebody, for speaking out loud. I would have done the whole live stream like this. Thank you.
I was actually noticing that.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. If you guys didn't say it, we would have done the whole live stream that way. But that's the fun of being live. So, what are you guys most interested about today? Oh, yes. Crypto Lark made a video of Elastos today. I was super pumped. You guys know I love Elastos. And what I thought was cool in the video, too, was actually listening to them refer to it. The team actually calls it the Ella, like the Ella coin. And I'm like, oh, that has a nice, because I kept saying that to myself because they're like comparing it to, because they're going to merge mining with Bitcoin. And I'm like, man, Bitcoin's got such a ring to it, Elastos. I'm like, it sounds cool like for the runtime, for what it does. But then when you think about the coin, you're like, Ella. I like that.
Yeah, it rolls off your tongue, man. Ella,
I like that.
Ella.
Okay. So, since it's
so, I guess let's just talk about. I know some things that people were asking us about is, we review a lot of projects, especially at CoinCrunch. We review a ton of projects, and a lot of people there's no defined set of metrics or criteria that people look at. Everybody's looking at different things. And to some people, certain things, like I say, the team are really important, and to others, like ourselves, we really focus on the tech. So I guess like what we could start off this whole live stream with is a conversation of what we look at in ICOs when we're trying to sort of filter what might be quality from what is absolute garbage. And that's like a problem that is always changing. And one thing that I was mentioning to you when we were chatting earlier last week is that the sophistication of which these projects are doing their marketing and they're writing their like landing page copy and even the ideas is getting higher and higher and just more sophisticated. And at the end of the day, some of them are still like actually scams, but they're putting on such a good facade now. And they've sort of like learned from 2017, and I think there's still like a lot of really crappy projects out there that people are getting unfortunately excited about.
Well, Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is the hype. A lot of it is what they hear. I mean, I'll be honest. When I first got into crypto, I didn't even know where to start myself. So I would turn to guys like you and I and Jeff for YouTube or for blogs and stuff like that for write ups, and I would be like, okay, well, this guy likes it, and if 5 people talked about the same project in the same week, I was like, well, it must be good. It has to be good, right? Everyone's talking about it. But
For
yeah,
sure.
it got a lot more difficult for me, and definitely it's difficult. I think for me, for a while, it was kind of the team. The team, I would just look at the team right away. But now, unfortunately, there's so many projects that the team members can't even go around to enough projects. So now you have to start diving even deeper into who are these guys. And, actually what's crazy is something I started looking at recently, which I never even used to care about, is who's investing. Like, I actually start looking at the VCs and the guys like, okay, do they have a good track record? What does their portfolio look like, right? If I go check out like the portfolio of, I'm not going to name, XYZ Capital, whatever, and I see, okay, oh, they got Icon, like, oh, they have, you know what I'm saying? Okay, or Zilliqa, something like that. I'm like, all right, these guys, they know what they're doing. But what do you look at, man? I mean, like, you're everywhere. You're at like blockchain conferences and
The way I look at it is, I don't. I think that a lot of people have been really sort of deceived by the whole look at the team, check in LinkedIn, sort of like the Ian Bellina method of doing due diligence. So for me, it actually, if I'm going to explain this, it's going to take a little while, but I have a background in psychology. I did my master's in educational psychology. I studied neuropsychology. I've been interested in how people think and specifically behavioral economics. I've written about it a lot over the last couple of years as well. And so when I came into crypto, there were so many aspects of behavioral economics that were in play in crypto. And they all follow one really, really simple theme. And that's the idea of people using heuristics. So they're also called like mental shortcuts. The idea is that from an evolutionary perspective, the human brain is wired to find signals in the environment to help it make decisions in a really easy way. Because the way our brains are designed is that we want to save energy. That's the most important thing for our brain from a survival evolutionary perspective. And so fast forwarding to crypto, when people are trying to decide if a project is high quality, they really look for these quick heuristics. That's why people talk about, oh, the Telegram is like 15,000 people. Oh, check it out. They have this person as an advisor. Oh, look at this. They have like this and that and this. And so people look for these really sort of surface level heuristics. And there's a flip side to that, because you can sort of, for short term trading, you can really capitalize on that and not manipulate, but you can sort of see where people are being manipulated. And those are good short term investments sometimes, not financial advice, but you know how people are going to react to those. So to answer your question in a really long way, one of the things I sort of always look for really high quality projects is thought leadership, from the CEOs and from the founders. And what happens with thought leadership is that it attracts really high quality entrepreneurs and other people who are passionate about whatever it is that they're building. And they're not so much in it for the quick flip. So that's one of the big things I look for is thought leadership on the CEO level, and in the community in general. And you see that with like Elastos, you see that with Ethereum especially, and some of these other projects.
Yeah, I would agree. When I go through my own process. Hold on a second. I'm hearing some feedback.
Sorry for that long.
So one of the biggest things that I look for is
biases am I suffering from, right? So one of the quickest ways to get yourself in trouble is fall into the confirmation bias. So if someone led me to the golden path the first time, might lead me astray the second time. And so, ever since I was young, when I invested in anything, whether it's a stock or bond, I really look for, what's my investment thesis? What's my long-term strategy? And then go through what are those key questions that I'm looking for to get answered. So again, the Ian Bellina questions, I think that worked really well in 2017. Then those who are looking for a quick buck and not really bringing anything of value figured, oh, well, that seems to be a model that people are using. Let's gamify our marketing engine to make sure that we optimize. So hence you see these Telegram bots empty chat rooms with 70,000 members. And that's really kind of led investors into a dead end. And so in 2018, you have to kind of revisit what your frameworks are. What are the core questions? So I personally look for projects that are somewhat different in nature. They're tackling a meaty problem, and they're not trying to be faster, stronger, or better than their competitor, but they're really bringing something different to the table. Whether it works or not, I mean, that's the big question of all of this technology. But I do think the end goal is something noble to strive for. So when I go through my check, I mean, I produce my content primarily as a due diligence for myself. I never take any paid payments, just like any of you guys, but always looking for, would I invest in this? And it's not financial advice, but it's for myself. I'll give my own personal advice. So, and I publish it. I publish it for everyone for free. So we'll see what 2018 looks like. I can't even imagine what next year looks like in crypto.
Thanks for the financial advice, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep you guys and put I hate when there's only 3 guys in the live stream, because like one guy's always the bigger guy, and I feel like that should be the guy that's talking. I wish it did like an automatic rotate like in Google, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Zoom does that.
Yeah, I mean, guys, like I said, it is changing, and one of the things that we've been doing recently, actually, I feel like I shout this guy out on all of my every stream, but Blockchain Brad is one of the core guys that was like, let me show you what I do. Talk to the team, meet them in person. And that's what I got to do. So we were in New York City, and we actually got to sit down and have dinner with some of these guys, like actually go to like these after parties. It wasn't all just like partying and drinking. I mean, there were some formal events too, where we're just like having dinner, you know what I'm saying? And that's when I really got to kind of pick these guys' brains. And it's like, there's no audience, there's no YouTube. It's just me and you. We're sitting at a table. Convince me. Just I'm one person. You know what I mean? And it was, you, like you said, you can kind of read people. You can tell by the passion. You can tell by the vision. You know, you can read a person. And unfortunately, there still are those projects out there that their value propositions for why they need to raise the amount of money that they need to raise is astronomical. It's just absurd.
For sure. And the other thing that one of the other things that I always sort of found fascinating was, I feel like a lot of people that are in crypto. So recently we took a poll of everybody that was in our audience. And what percentage of the people do you think in our audience are working a 9-to-5 job? Just take a guess out of almost 500 people.
I would assume most are, I think. I mean, yeah.
The majority of people are working like a 9-to-5 job. And so there's not a lot of people who have experience investing on like a PE, a private equity or a VC basis in their sort of like before crypto life. So the mindset that these people have is very crypto centric. And because of that, they missed out on a lot of the aspects of that like a traditional VC would look at when examining a company. So one thing, I'll give you an example to make this a little bit more easier to understand, is with most startups, one of the biggest obstacles is distribution. You might have an amazing product, but if you don't have a go-to-market plan and you don't have a bunch of people doing hardcore biz dev for that, it's going to be really hard to scale your product and get a lot of people using it. And you know, that's like rarely covered in crypto. The overall thesis with most of these projects is like, build it and you will be successful. But that's not the way things work, because this isn't the regular tech world where somebody will come in and buy your product after you've built it and it's good. This is open source stuff, right? And they don't have the proprietary IP to whatever they have built. So they can't go and do an exit like a normal tech startup would do after building the product. And they don't cover the distribution angle. And there's just so many aspects that aren't really discussed by a lot of ICOs that are coming out, and people don't look at them either.
Yeah.
If you look at projects from 2017, for example, many of them are just launching, and you wonder if they need to upgrade the protocol or they need to upgrade the software in any meaningful way. What are the governance mechanisms? How do you vote and put in? Here's proposition A, proposition B. You know, what are those clear guidelines to changing the distribution? So absolutely agree. Another thing I worry about is the treasury function, right? So when companies receive their Ethereum, they need to pay their employees in the native fiat or whatever country they live in. How do they do that? How do they cover payroll? I always wonder if they're just holding on to their ether until it's either sky high or down to the ground.
Yeah, it's like a weird thing because it's just like, do you liquidate all your Ethereum after your crowd sale? Or are you just like, you know what, shit, I'm gonna hold on to this because it might go up, and then the market dips, and then you're like, well, we don't have enough operating expenses now. You know, it's.
I actually think that has a lot to do with why the market got so crazy, to be honest with you, over the past year, is because of the ICOs. I mean, I hate to kind of point the finger at one thing, but realistically, you know, when you buy into a token, I mean, it sucks being a U.S. citizen. I think we all know that over here. But that aside from all that garbage that we can talk about all day about how it's unfair, but realistically, I mean, you're taking Ethereum, which already has a value proposition. It's worth something. We agree that it's worth something. It's the second crypto in the world, right? And you give it to these people because one of your friends said, hey, it's going to 5x as soon as it hits the exchange, right? So now you're left with these tokens. So they have the ether and you have these tokens. You see what I'm saying? So what is their incentive? Okay, what are they in for? Well, like you said, market starts to take a tank. We're going to liquidate. You know what I'm saying? And when people see Ethereum crashing, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that, what do you think that's going to do to the rest of the altcoins? What signal is that going to send to the market? And the whole thing about like the actual market cap itself is like people don't sometimes comprehend the fact that when it comes to market cap, all it is like whatever the last price of something was multiplied by the total amount of coins. It doesn't actually have to do with what's coming in and what's going out.
No.
Not at all. So
no, there is not $400 billion of like cash sitting.
No way
at all.
If we all wanted to cash out right now, we couldn't. We wouldn't be able to.
No, of course not. There would be not enough liquidity at all. So that's it's what you guys said. A question or not, sort of like a follow up on that is one thing I like to ask projects sometimes, and I've received some very maybe not so encouraging responses. Is I'm like, how do you guys make money as a business? What are you guys doing, you know, to fund yourselves beyond the token sale? And a lot of times, a lot of projects don't have an answer for that. And you don't really see that being discussed by any of the ICO reviewers at all. You know, they're not like, hey, this foundation, they have like a really good business plan. This is how they do it. Yet they still keep it like equitable, and they have this and this, whatever it is. Nobody discusses that at all. And most people don't even discuss biz dev either. You know, so these are some of the things I look at when you're thinking of a long-term project. Without business development, you're gonna die. And I think that's one of the reasons why Dash was so successful in 2017. If you know anything about Dash, they have some serious biz dev people behind it, and they put some big money into it as well.
Yeah, you got what's his name? Max Kaiser driving around in the Dash mobile all around the country. So yeah, no, I mean, listen, there's always other sides to the coin. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, okay, here's the thing. That is interesting to talk about, but I feel like with a lot of the people, I don't know about your channel, a lot of the people that I talk to on a daily basis, like you said, we are the average 9 to 5 working people. We don't have a lot of opportunities to go there and do as much research as we'd like to. So it's kind of like, you know, I feel like we have a responsibility. I mean, especially, you know, all of us on this channel. If you're going to have a channel and you're going to claim, not that any of us claim to be experts, but if you're going to go out there and give information to people, you should definitely be doing your due diligence and make sure, because, you know, unfortunately, well, you know, like I always joke, but I'm the guy that bought Chaincoin, right? Which we don't have to talk about that today. But yeah, that wasn't fun. Listening to other people.
I can share like the worst ICO I've participated in. I don't know why I did it. But it was, and if anybody's listening from this project, well, I don't know. It was Kick ICO. It was like this like crowdsourcing, like crowdfunding platform for other ICOs. And I don't know why I bought that, but it was like an interesting lesson in retrospect, because they were a group of people, friends of mine, who sort of like influenced me into getting into this ICO. And then of course it just like dumped right out of the gate, like immediately. It went up a little bit and then they were just like straight, like a vertical plunge. But yeah, that was like probably the worst one
So,
I've
so what do you think about all this? There's been a really big topic of conversation lately. A lot of people have been talking about like the new Chinese ICO standard, where basically they have all of they basically have all the tokens, and then they give like 5% out for the crowd sale essentially. And like people have been complaining almost about like what happened with Quark Chain with the super low liquidity, and even IOTax, which I actually like that project a lot. But I mean, as far as what happened with Binance, a lot of people were upset about that. So what do you think about that? I mean, do you think these guys need to kind of rethink their structure a little bit, or people are not gonna want to even get involved in these at all, and your coin is gonna just.
I think it depends on the goals of your project, right? If you're looking to seed your network and you have a long-term mechanism to distribute. So, for example, the public sale is one thing, but there's so much legal scrutiny that some projects are altogether trying to avoid it. It doesn't mean that they don't have a distribution plan. Maybe they just haven't figured it out. Many companies are setting up foundations to figure out what that token distribution looks like, whether it's bounty programs or airdrops. I think in the long run, if they want their project to be decentralized, but if they're running a company that's probably highly centralized, then they got to figure out maybe it's worth to do a 90-10 split, as you say, or maybe go a 50-50 split, which I personally, when you go to my rankings, I tend to bias towards projects that decentralize and allow a public sale. Because I personally thought that the ICO was supposed to be a great democratizer of wealth as opposed to a cash grab. So if you see a project giving 5% of their tokens away, I personally give it a red flag, but that's just my own criteria. The project may have different intentions. They may have to clear up any FUD that I create unintentionally.
I mean, I'm not trying to bring up specific projects in general, and I would never trash or anything, but I mean, isn't Phantom doing something similar? Haven't they already reached like 95% of their total like hard cap, and then they're only distributing like the last 2 million to regular ICO people? Or is that, am I wrong about? I think I saw that, right? Something like that.
I haven't been following that, so I don't really follow the each specific token crowd sale that much. But I'll share my opinion about what you first asked, and it might be a little bit of a controversial opinion, but my personal take on it, and from just being sort of in the space and seeing repeated patterns, I think that there is a group of people who are manipulating these and planning these basically these massive evaluations right out of the gate. They know how to basically screw with people's psychology in order to create that effect. I don't know if they're doing it for nefarious purposes, but there's a lot of projects coming out of China that follow like a very similar strategy. They're like lower supply, lower cap, and then they have a similar like go-to market kind of path. And they're just, I think personally, they're just, a lot of them are being manipulated. And it's weird with Western people, man. They're so like, because I'm in Chinese groups, because like I can read and write Chinese, and I'm in these Chinese groups, and man, Western people just go so crazy over anything Chinese. They're just like, I think because NEO was so successful that they anchor that success, and they think all other Chinese ICOs have the potential to do something crazy like that. And so I've been continuously past Chinese projects, and I'm like, this doesn't leave it real. And I'll ask in the Chinese WeChat groups, or there's a couple Telegram groups, and they'll be like, we don't even know any of these people. Like none of these people, we don't know any of them. So I mean, I'm skeptical of a lot of this stuff that's coming out of China. Not to say that there aren't good projects, but I think there's something definitely going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how do you feel about now? Recently, I've seen a lot of them adopting these like lockup periods for early investors now. I've seen some of them that I've heard, I'm not even kidding, that you have to lock up your coins for like over a year for some of these newer ones that are coming out, or they're doing like a distribution period. Do you think that that's a better solution? Kind of like you can't dump your coins all at once. Do you think that's more fair how they're doing that? Or
well, I think it goes back to the idea that they're now figuring out how to basically control the market supply and incentivize people to hold it, and also to keep the price high. So when you're taking a lot of the tokens out of circulation, and you're releasing a small amount, at a time, you're gonna create a, sort of like an artificial control over the price, and you're never gonna experience like a massive drop. So it's a pretty smart thing the way that they're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Viewed as a lockup as an incentive. If you think about traditional startups with equity, employees have 3 or 4 year vests where they don't receive all their tokens or their equity at once. They receive it over years in exchange for their blood, sweat, and tears at those companies. So I personally look for long lockups for team members. 1, 2 years. I don't know if that's very long, but in the token world, I think that's very long. At least they're focused on building something. I think you brought something really interesting, which is what's your business model? And I keep thinking about what's the ICO paradox, essentially, right? So if your token is a utility, it's supposed to be used for some sort of service. But at the same time, speculators are jumping in and trying to increase the price because they want to make a profit. So which is it? Is it a commodity or a token like Dave & Buster's to play a video game? Or is it to try to get filthy rich on? And I think that's a paradox. So when your only business model is to increase the value of your token, you're going to focus all your energy, your sales, your marketing, your PR, as opposed to focusing on the development, focusing on the governance, focusing on the economics of the economy that you've just built. So those are red flags to me as well. When you look at token economics, you have to ask, does this even need a token? What would this token be used for? And 3, where are the conflicts of interest? Where are those friction points? But hey, guys, I had a great time. I told you guys earlier I had to leave to go pick up some dinner. So great shooting with you. And KW, you finally got me on a live stream.
You're not even supposed to be here, Jeff. It's so funny because we were actually waiting for Dan. I think Dan, where is he? He's in Singapore or where is he?
He's in Bangkok. I messaged him, told him to get up, but I guess he missed it. So it's just us now.
Well, what are you gonna do? So it's just us. Okay. All right. Well, guys, for everybody that was watching, that's Jeff from Quantalysis. That he's, we work very closely. He helps me do my research. I trust the guy with my life, so it was an honor to have Jeff on from Quantalysis. So now that it's just us, Sia, why don't we talk about, like, honestly, people want to know about projects. So why don't we talk about it? Is there anything that you're looking at? Any projects that you got your eyes on? I mean, I have a list I could share. I've been doing a lot of research this week, so it's
So again, I realized that, like, as a single individual, I can't really do the research effectively, and so that's why I've been really focusing on building a community at CoinCrunch. And because I'm not a superhuman, don't possess any sort of special ability, but I think together with other people, I can do a lot more high quality work. So the guys on our team, shout outs to all the CoinCrunch analysts. If you guys are watching this, they've been helping us find some really great projects. And we have a list, and we have a lot of interviews. We have about 20 different projects at some sort of stage of communication for an interview. But let's see, off the top of my head, projects that I'm excited about. So I have an interview tomorrow with the CEO of Seller Network.
Oh, yes. Dude, Seller's pretty sick, dude. They have an entire team of, like, PhDs. It's going to be crazy fast. They're going to use, like, off-chain scaling techniques, and they're claiming they can do billions of transactions per second. So that's incredible. You got an interview. Yeah, I'm just going to check that out.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I'm excited to speak with him. So that's coming up tomorrow. I'm going to be chatting with him. Let's see. Other than that, I'm trying to think. We have a huge list. Projects. There are a couple of Korean ones that are coming up. One is run by a company called Block O, and they're launching in basically the ontology of Korea. It's aimed for enterprise customers and consortium customers. So they're going after the same kind of thing. Other than that, let's see. I'm trying to think, man. Our list is really big, and it's hard.
I mean, the thing is what's funny is, like, after I talk to so many people that are in this, like, ICO startup world, like, the stuff that's old news is actually still not even old. You know what I'm saying? Like, people haven't even heard of some of these projects, and it kind of gives me that opportunity to to be able to bring it out to my channel after having, for example, a guy like you who actually has a research team, who's had time to dive into it. I've spoken to other people. There's many, many different people that I speak to as well, people that I hold in very high regards as far as researching. Just to name a few, obviously Jeff, who was just on the channel, I trust his work. You guys for sure, Blockchain Brad, definitely that dude does massive amounts of research. You have Bite Size Capital, those guys are great. Crypto Briefing. God, there's so many of them that just do really, really great research.
Another one that we're really excited about is Harmony. And Dan, the other guy at CoinCrunch, he actually just put out the video for Harmony. So I could just break down Harmony real fast. So we have all of these projects that are looking to solve this whole TPS issue, right? And so Harmony is trying to do the same thing, but they're approaching it in a different way. So if you look at a lot of these high throughput projects like Solana, they're trying to do this proof of time concept to make the whole blockchain process a lot more efficient. Well, Harmony is sort of approaching it like the scientific method. They are taking little iterations of existing technology or maybe theoretical technology, and they're trying to just change little things to get to that point where they have really high TPS. So I thought that was a pretty cool way that they're approaching it. So check that out. We did a video. I see people saying HPV on the chat, HPV.
I actually see a couple people calling the projects that we're discussing, for lack of better words, shit. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, dude, whatever. I mean, listen, literally, guys, if you want to see the projects that hit me up, I get hit up with about 30 different projects every day in my email that are more than willing to pay me a ridiculous amount of money to talk about their projects, and I literally turn them down. So I promise you, if there's a project that's being discussed right now between me and Sia, just trust me that there's a lot of research that went into it. We're not, no one here is out here to shill anything, and we want you guys to get involved in good projects early and that have great teams with great visions and like you said, great biz in the background, so because you have to have that. So
and also it's funny that when people you mention any coin and then it's people are like, you're shilling it. And
how are you shilling a coin you don't even own? I don't even own any of these. They haven't even gotten to ICO yet. I mean, we're talking about projects that are great. I mean, okay, I'll give you another example of a project that they're not even really doing an ICO. Have you heard of Arcana Wallet? They are doing, I had a look at their design. So you kind of know what Ethos is doing as well, with that kind of a thing. Well, they have a wallet. And their wallet is basically, it allows you to, basically it does everything for you. You don't have to worry about mainnet swaps. You don't have to worry about if you get forks or airdrops or anything of that nature. And it's going to be tied up with literally a military grade system. You know what I'm saying? Oh. And, I have spoken to guys that have already pre-invested into this that I trust very, very much because I know them personally, and I know that they're not going to invest in something that, they don't believe in. Some of the ones, I'll run through them real quick. For me, it doesn't matter. I don't own any of these, so it doesn't matter who sees these videos. For me, I talk about CertiK a lot. I think that formal verification platforms for smart contracts, blockchain ecosystems, you need that, okay? You saw what happened with Binance when QuantStamp had to walk in. Another one that I was looking at was Emotic or Emotique, however you want to pronounce it. So one of the cool things that they're doing is they're utilizing Ring VM. All right, and that's basically for sandboxing. So that'll allow them to basically experiment with the smart contracts. And they're also going to have their own Ring language as well. What's up?
Yeah, it's cool. We're going to be interviewing them next week. We were just going back and forth.
Quit taking all the interviews, man. Give me some interviews. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. You guys earned it. I mean,
we love these projects, man. I really like hearing about what they're trying to build and just connecting with the teams and meeting them in person. It's really cool to see people who actually care about the blockchain and what the technology is all about, and being able to connect with these people. And they immediately, when they talk to guys like us, they resonate with what we're doing, trying to educate the community. And they like us right away. So it's really cool.
I want people to be realistic, Sia. I want people, when you hear something and it sounds too good to be true, question that. because it probably is. You know, when you have Vitalik, right, or Zilliqa, and, you know, they're doing sharding and they're only doing, you know, I think it was 2,400, 2,600. I don't remember the last, whatever they hit. And then you got guys coming out saying that we're going to do millions, billions, trillions. Listen, it's fine. I'll take it. I'll take it. But what I want to see is I want to see it work outside of a test network. Yeah, if I have it in a controlled environment, that's centralized. You're no different than Facebook. Take it outside, get it off the test net, put it on a main net, put stress. Look at Ethereum. Ethereum accounts for, what, is over 90% of the tokens in circulation, right? So when you look at something you want to diss on Ethereum, yeah, but I mean, look at how it's actually able to still be stable after all of these projects are putting the stress on the network. And I think, you know, white papers, visions, dreams. For example, okay, Anchor Network is one that I'm looking at as well. So Anchor, they're doing distributed cloud computing, but they're using trusted hardware, and they're using a proof of useful work consensus. I know you were one of the earlier ones to find high performance blockchain. I remember you and me kind of found them right around the same time. And the thing that drew my attention to them was the realisticness of it. Like, we understand that at some point, maybe we're going to have to put it on one of these. You know, maybe the hardware is going to matter, guys. It's not just going to be in some imaginary cloud somewhere. Like,
people are thinking about that, but they're just like, oh yeah, the hardware has to be specific to be able to handle the amount of transactions that a big enterprise or like an actual really big online business would need. It requires like specialized hardware. I mean, there's just so many projects that are all doing the same thing. So I feel like they all sort of catch on. And another thing is, like, when somebody sees, I'm going to call this right now, the next project that seems to be very much similar to Quark Chain and has similar metrics, regardless of the quality, people are going to go insane about it. Because when people see like a success in one project, they try to emulate that. They try to look for like the next thing that is going to like do that, right? We saw that in 2017 with like lending platforms. So there was like, you know, a couple lending platforms that did really well. And then there was like 10 more that came out after that. And now everybody's trying to do like TPS, like transactions per second. I'm going to predict the next one once. This is something I'm going to start talking about a lot soon. And that's securitized tokens or securitized real world assets. I think this is like the big elephant in the room that nobody is really talking about. And it's coming, and nobody's going to be able to stop it. And it's going to be way bigger than the actual crypto markets right now. So I'm saying this right now.
Wait, are you talking like land registries and percentages of buildings? Or are you talking like ERC 721 non-fungible assets? Like, what do you mean?
So think about it like this. So everything there's a digital record of ownership everywhere. However, those are on separate ledgers because there's all sorts of legal and jurisdiction and regulatory issues. Now, with securitized assets, you're basically able to take real world assets, whether those are, you know, real estate, debt, private equity being like the biggest one, and you're allowed to tokenize those ownership. So basically, you're taking that digital registration of ownership and you're putting it on the blockchain. So you're using this shared ledger. Now, because you're using a shared ledger and you don't have all these separate ledgers, there is the ability to be 100% compliant and 100% under the rule of law and be able to create a secondary market for these things, which frees up a ton of liquidity. I could go into it for a while, but I personally think it's like the elephant in the room that nobody's talking about. And in like 8 months, this is all people are going to be talking about.
But it's weird though, because you're saying like, oh, this is going to be the next big craze. But in reality, that sounds like what blockchain was created to do. In a way, like, it's like, I'm not surprised that's what we're using it for. We should have been using it for that and not like, well, I'm not going to name other projects, but yeah, we should have been focusing on that from the beginning. Absolutely.
I just actually spent like the majority of the day filming this video about securitized assets. And then we got some pretty good interviews. We're interviewing Harbor, Securitize.io, and a professor from University of Pennsylvania who's like the leading thought leader on it. So there's going to be some good stuff. I'm really going to try to break it down so everybody can understand it, because I've been really getting into it and I'm sort of starting to see the light. And I think it's personally going to be really big in the future. So I'm shilling it if that's what you get.
No. I dude, it's not shilling if it makes sense and you believe in it. I mean, God, you know, everything is shilling. I'm tired of that word. Like if I talk about something, I'm shilling. It's like, you know, what if you like it? What if you just genuinely like something, you know?
Sure.
I mean, I feel like some of what you're talking about, you kind of started seeing that with like the in-house token, the IHT from, you know, they do, what do they do? They do like real estate and stuff like that, right? Or something like that. Yeah. So I could see that moving on as well. One of the other aspects too that I usually don't go into as much, but I should give a little more focus on too, is gaming on blockchain too, because you know, I used to be a huge gamer growing up. I mean, I had like every game, every system. And then as I got older, I kind of moved away from that. But you realize that like the gaming world is huge, bro. Like there's so much money in gaming. And even like, I started looking at like bit.game, for example, how they're going to be, you know, they're going to be like an exchange for blockchain games and stuff like that. They actually just partnered with Elastos. So Elastos is going to like cooperate with them with their, the aspect of the Java EVM. And then they're going to basically, BitGame is going to put a lot on Elastos, so that's something that's coming out as well too. I mean, there's so many, man. Like, what about currencies? Like, what about what like Thunder was doing with Elaine Shi, man? I mean, I watched that like presentation like 5 times over again because I couldn't believe it. I was like, you know, blown away.
Overload, man. Information, like there's too much. I could just go down the rabbit hole of just looking at everything. But gaming is there was actually like, I don't know if you know, but there were gaming currencies before, like way before the crypto market, even like around the time of Bitcoin starting. And some of them had like a fair amount of volume.
No, I mean, it's crazy. You know what, the one that I've been looking at recently that I can't get enough. Maybe you probably already have an interview lined up, I assume. But what is Oasis Labs trying to do with what's that project called? It's like Ekiden or something like that.
EDA something.
And so they're like doing like an EVM scaling solution where they're gonna, once again, we're talking about the hardware, right? They have the trusted execution environments, I think it's called, and it's like an Intel SGX or something like that, you know. And I don't know, it's just so much, like you said, so much.
That was on our list like it feels like a long time ago. And then it just sort of like went to the bottom of our research list, and now it's like, oh look, a lot of people looking at this. We better dig this back up. But I don't know that much about it. I've just heard the name over and over again, and like, dude, that's how ridiculous the amount of knowledge and information out there is. It's just, you can't keep up with everything. There's too much. There's literally too much.
Way too much. So all right, I know we've been talking. I mean, we usually keep these things like, usually we're at like 42 minutes into it, but so we've been talking about due diligence, ICOs. Everybody's in the chat like, what the hell are these guys talking about? What do you think about projects that are out right now? Because a lot of us do have our hard-earned cash into it. I mean, what do you think about Bitcoin? I mean, there's so many people that are saying it's in this like that wedge, and like within a week or two it could blast off. I mean, what's your take on the whole market in general?
So generally speaking, I don't like to talk about like price, because I think it's one of those things where it's so superficial. It's just like, I mean, I look at some of these, not your YouTube channel, but a lot of other YouTube channels. It's like Bitcoin goes up. Next video, it's like Bitcoin goes down. Next video is like Bitcoin might go up, but wait, it's going down. Oh wait, it might go up. Like, it's just, there's no actual valuable information in there. You don't walk away from that being like, you know, I had some previously held notions like challenge. There's nothing in there. It just goes up, it goes down, it goes up. So I am a Bitcoin maximalist, and the whole reason why I trade a lot of other tokens
is to get more Bitcoin.
Is literally to get more Bitcoin.
Exactly. Oh man. That's so funny that you say that, because I tell people all the time and they think I'm crazy. I'm like, yo, you gotta hold Bitcoin. And they're like, oh, but I'm not gonna make any sick gains. It's like, oh yeah, how was that coin that you bought last month? How's that doing? You know, like if you look at the losses in Bitcoin takes a 2%, your altcoin's taking a 15-20% dip. You know what I'm saying? And
For sure.
I agree with you as well. And yeah, okay, fine. Like, it's not the greatest, fastest way of transferring stuff, but it's the most universally agreed on, I guess, like digital gold, if you want to be that guy. It has the most liquidity, even over Ethereum. And, you know, okay, so Ethereum active addresses have recently surpassed active Bitcoin addresses. But let's dial it back. Why are they active? Why are they active? Because of ERC20s? Transferring back and forth. Now, if it was just Ethereum, if it just was a standalone, would it have that many active addresses? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would, you know?
There's a, yeah, we could get into it for a long time, but for me, the reason I do it is because I just want to create an environment where I can think more rationally and make decisions that I think are going to do well. So when I bet on something, I generally bet pretty big. And I've been really successful with a couple of these picks. And I don't, you know, I'm reasonable with things. I'm not trying to get like a 15x. I exit and I put it back into BTC or back into ETH. And then I do the same process again, because the way I look at it is like, you can say whatever you want about XYZ Chinese coin and whatever other coin, but look at the data and look at how many Ethereum meetups there are in the world. Look how many Ethereum developers there are in the world. Look how many projects are being developed on Ethereum. And the fact that we've spoken over 50 projects now, and every single one of these projects has had something positive to say about Ethereum or how the community helped them and all of these kinds of things. You're like, how, like, you know, why would I not put most of my confidence in Ethereum? So that's my take on it.
Right. I mean, at some point you have to realize that a lot of people are coming in with their hard-earned money. I mean, like you said, most of your group, working 9 to 5s, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna basically bust your ass at a job all week, and then you're gonna gamble on a coin or a token that somebody basically told you had a good chance to 5x, and then it doesn't, but you keep holding because you believe in it. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it. Yeah. I've seen it happen over and over again, man, and it's unfortunate. That's why I do have a core holding in Bitcoin, and I have a few other tokens that I hold as well, or coins that I hold as well. But I've actually minimized my my portfolio when I first if we were talking about six months to a year ago, okay, yeah, I'd have to actually scroll down in the Blockfolio to see all of my different percentages. Now I hold like maybe 6. Yeah. And primarily it's like Bitcoin, Ethereum. I actually don't own as much Ethereum as I should. I kind of own Ethereum just to do some kind of transactions back and forth. It's mostly Bitcoin. I'm a huge proponent of Icon. Everybody knows that. I'm really big on Elastos, bro. I mean, I don't care. If you look into Elastos, you really look at Ron Chang and you look at his past, this guy is serious, bro. He's not kidding. This isn't a joke. When you have Jihan Wu basically ready to give up 50% of his hash power come December to do a merge mining, which, might I add, people are very confused about this. It's not going to take away any of the hash. Maybe minuscule, like nothing. You know, it's not even going to cause any more damage to the because proof of work. It's not what do they say? It's not like ecologically friendly or environmentally friendly, but it works. You know, it works. So
you need to call it by its correct name, man. Ella, stop calling it Elastos.
Ella. I'm sorry, man. I have to call it Ella. Yeah. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, I went like Icon. I went huge in the one of the earlier rounds. And yeah, Icon's a great project. I hold that one too. I've been accused of shilling Icon, but it's one of the only ones that actually has a very large amount of legitimate partnerships and sort of relationships with industries all around Korea. And if you look at the parent company of Icon, they're like 1 degree of separation away from every major industry.
Dude, Loop Chain they're serious.
Yeah, it's been
It's funny, you were like, you get accused of shilling it. I was like, at this point, I guess I just do. Like, I guess if there's one, well, I don't know, because, you know, I do talk about Neo as well. The thing with Neo, though, is I think that as we began to understand where Neo was truly coming from and where their strong points were, I think that as we move forward, I think Neo, in my personal opinion, I could be totally wrong, I could have the wrong vision here, but I think that Neo is going to become more of an incubator, in my opinion. I think that Neo is going to be a great place for digital assets. I could see you storing your assets on Neo. For example, I bring this up a lot, just because I've spoken to QLC Chain many, many, many times. And, you know, they're still totally cool with digitalizing your assets on Neo, fine. But they need their own chain for their own purposes. So I do see Neo moving forward as more of an incubator. They might be able to host smaller dApps that don't need as high of throughput. But, I mean, you and I both know that, you know, even these third-generation chains or even whatever, eventually you're going to hit a wall. You're going to hit a wall, and you're going to just run into that situation where you're going to either have to go centralized again, you're going to have to fork, you're going to have a side chain, whatever, hardware. There's going to be another solution. And I think that Neo kind of found its comfort zone, and now it's reestablishing its purpose in the ecosystem, which it still has a very good purpose. I don't think Neo's going anywhere at all. I just think it's kind of reestablished its value and what it does best. Kind of like Ethereum, it's an ICO platform. That's kind of like what it does best, you know? And I think Neo kind of, I mean, how do you feel?
One thing about Neo that I always found really interesting is like the supporters of Neo are like militant. They're like the most, like, of all of the different cryptos, the Neo supporters are like hardcore. Like, how dare you say anything bad about Neo? Like, they're intense, man. And there's a lot of people who believe in the project. And I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about it, but I think that alone in itself, like, really will push the value of it in the future. And that's really important, the collective belief.
Dude, you need not to cut you off, but you need the network effect. You have to have the network effect. Like, okay, why? I don't know where you're, like, I know you move all over the world, but like over here in my town, okay? So we had an option back in the day between TiVo and DVR. Dude, TiVo had it all. TiVo had everything, bro. TiVo was like TV on steroids, and yet it lost. And why did it lose? Because TiVo was too concerned about telling you the what's. This is what we can do. This is how we can do it. DVR, they told you why. You know, wouldn't it be so nice if you could just have dinner with your family while recording something in the background? And I think that Neo speaks to the community in that way. They explain the why, you know what I'm saying? And they have that community support. And it's
Wouldn't it be nice if you held on to your Neo and it 10x'd in like 3 months?
Oh man, but guys, look at, all right. So you know what? You're right. Let's not talk price. Let's not talk price. Let's talk about connections. Okay. How about Yunobo Lee? How about NKN, On-Chain, Junli? Let's talk about their connections. Okay. You have Ontology, new kind of network. You really think that they're just gonna be like, well, we had a good run, guys. Let's start over. You know.
I also think that something that a lot of people don't get. Well, I guess like some people probably get it, but a lot of people don't. Is that these projects are doing something really interesting, and Ripple does this. So Ripple does this in actually a fairly devious way. But anyways, they take their tokens and then they sell them on the open market, and then they take that to fund other projects in like pre-sale rounds. And that's why you see certain funds of projects investing in a ton of other projects. And so what sort of happens is, they have a high valuation, but some of them are not really, I don't think, building that much tech. Instead, they're just like focusing on keeping the price high. They're selling some of those tokens and then investing it back into a whole bunch of projects. Ripple was doing this, and I don't think a lot of people know, but they were actually buying like real world assets with Ripple. They set up a VC fund that was funded with Ripple, and they started buying all sorts of stuff. I think they're buying like actual real estate now and investing in other companies through that. They're funding it through their cryptocurrency. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's good to have some in reserve, right? You know, I mean, that's I mean, I know we have like talked about Neo so much, so I won't shill the Neo guys. But like, you know, one of the things that Neo did, which was a little controversial back in the day, was they kept 50% of the tokens to themselves. Which if a project projects doing that now would be like, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. But in reality, what they were doing, like you said, with those funds is they were allowing these other projects. They were investing in these projects. You have Neo Global Capital, and a lot of people, they come to me and they go, well, why is Neo Global Capital investing in this project when that's not even on Neo or this? It's like, well, Neo Global Capital doesn't have to only invest in projects that are on Neo. They're just looking for any projects. They're looking for anything, because the thing is I speak to a lot of projects, and one of the things that, especially when you talk about dApps and not dApps, excuse me, but like protocol layers and secondary solutions, is being blockchain agnostic is a really good benefit, because we don't know. I mean, let's be real. We love these, but we don't know, bro. I mean, we might think we're smart. You might think the CEO that you're talking to tomorrow is smart. I don't know who you're talking to tomorrow, so I'm just throwing it out there. But Seller, yeah. Well, actually, I take that back, because he's a doctor. He's a doctor. He's got a PhD. But yeah, I mean, we don't know. The truth is that we don't know, and we're all trying our very best. And the thing is, for me, I know I always get a little corny at the end of the live streams, but it really is about the community, and it really is about the tech and the adoption. I hope that we all get super rich, Lambo to the moon in the process. But at the same time, it's really important that we make this work. Like, it has to work. If it doesn't work, what are we doing this for? What are we here for?
So far that we can sort of delude ourselves to there's a point where people will wise up, and yeah, the tech has to be built, and we have to see it sort of move past the point of just hoping it does something. And yeah, and we will get there. I mean, that's one of the reasons, again, that I like Ethereum, is that there's just so many people working on these big problems. And I am very confident that they're eventually going to be able to solve some of these.
Absolutely, man. So I guess Dan is not joining us. I guess I just wasn't important enough, huh? Dan just said live streaming with the Crypto Zombies. Just not. Dan is just so busy.
He actually just messaged me. He's like, "Hey, man, he's like, I have it scheduled right now," and I just closed the messages.
Just tell him to hop on. We have I mean, usually around an hour, people tend to kind of get bored. But I mean, if Dan wants to hop on for 5 minutes, at least show his face, say hello. I have him in the thumbnail for the.
Let me tell him to join. Let me tell him. Will it hit cut out our chat?
No. You have the link. Give it to him. I'm not going to say it out loud, because then everyone's going to try to join live, because that's what they do, because they think it's funny. So anyway, I'm going to talk to the chat while you guys are hanging out in here. Loopring is definitely not a scam. Somebody said they walk the dogs, came back, and we were still hanging out.
You got some of these messages here.
What are your thoughts on Metronome? I'll be honest with you. Unfortunately, that was just one of those projects I didn't look into enough. But you know who did? I think Box Mining just did a Metronome No, that was Mainframe. I think it was a CryptoLark. CryptoLark might have done a Metronome.
I think Brad did it as well.
Did he? Yeah, I didn't. Guys, so many projects, I couldn't get around to it.
Yeah, sure.
Damn, Trump versus Putin. Everything's a scam to you, huh, buddy?
Everything's scam.
Oh, he called Banyan a scam. I think that puts us both kind of on the.
That's on Bitcoin Cash. I don't want to go into the BCH or BTC kind of debate.
Bezant's relations to Icon. I don't know. I haven't looked into that. You know who might know a little bit about Bezant though is Chico Crypto. He actually looked into that as well. So
I think we looked at Bezant. I remember passing on it. I'm not sure why. Somebody asked about SweetBridge. We're pretty close with the SweetBridge team, and they're building out some. They're building out some really cool technology, and it's a little bit like the discount token that they've built is quite complicated, and I don't think a lot of people understand it, and so that's why it's not getting the attention that it sort of deserves.
Yeah, I know. I was it's just so stupid of me. I just spoke with Daniel from Loopring.
Okay.
I didn't even bring it up. That would have been such a great. I should have brought up Banyan Network. He's involved with it, and I just it slipped my mind because we were just so focused on Loopring. I didn't even think about it. So that's an unfortunate missed opportunity.
Yeah, we interviewed those guys from Banyan Network a couple months ago as well.
Okay, so I actually have Nova on here. She's from my Telegram chat. and she wants to ask you because you did do an interview on it. What are your thoughts on Space Chain? How do you feel?
So like Space Chain was, I love talking with that guy, and I love what they're doing. My only concern, first of all, I'm a big science fiction nerd, so anything involving space just like gets me sort of excited in a sci-fi way. And so I think what he's doing is really cool. I just don't know if it's the right time, if that makes sense to you. So they're trying to develop these like nodes in space that allow truly decentralized everything because it's not on planet Earth. I just think I don't know if it's too early for that. So I mean, it was great talking to him, and I think I'm the only person who's spoken with that guy. And there's like, I mean, Jeff Garzik is like his co-founder.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
And a whole bunch of other people. It like hasn't really got much attention, and the price is just collapsed as well.
There's a project actually called Change Space too that I just I just heard about it, but I didn't even.
Somebody sent that to me like a couple days ago. I think the name sounds familiar.
So
Let's see what other questions we got in here.
Some people.
If you guys have a question, just drop it in the chat. We'll definitely. They found organic matter on Mars today. Awesome, man. I'll check that out.
hey, Reggie wants to know, does anyone want to buy some BitConnect? Reggie, I think you're stuck with those bags, buddy. I think those are just your little, I don't know. I don't know what to do with BitConnect. I wouldn't. So, yeah, a lot of questions in here. I mean, guys, there's so many, like, people are asking about, like, Zebi and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, Zebi, they're doing real things. They have relationships with Indian states. They're putting land I mean, it's just, guys, give it time. Like, people just want these projects to 100x. It's like, just give them time.
Yeah, you got to be patient and really think that it takes a long time. So think about with traditional VC, guess what the average investment period is. Just take a guess.
This is out of my realm. I'm just a YouTuber. I don't even know. What's up?
It's about 15 years, which if you look at the US average for marriages, it's twice the average length of a marriage. So that's like the long-term mindset it takes that these people are going in, even on like a Series A or, and so they're holding on to these projects for a long time, right? And so you got to give them time to develop what it is that they're trying to develop. Like no VC is coming in being like, all right, I'll invest, but like, I'm going to like sell everything in like 3 months. You guys better make me some money. You know what I mean? So that's the mindset I try to sort of bring to it.
I talk to people that do traditional stock investments, and they get like really happy when their portfolio is up like 5-6% for the year.
Oh, yeah.
Like in crypto, it's like, what do you mean it didn't 300x? This is a shit coin. I'm selling it.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, that's like not like what we are doing is unrealistic. Like,
yeah,
like
sure.
This is unrealistic. What's happening out there is how real things happen. I mean, dude,
exactly.
Yeah, if your coin 2x's, 3x's, at least take your. I mean, there's like some people feel that they owe it to these projects that like I will die with the sword and hammer in my hand. It's like, guys, take back your investment, bro. If you put $1,000 in, okay, and that $1,000 turns into $3,000, take that $1,000 back. There's nothing wrong with doing that. It's your money. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure. And I'm like really happy that I was in the regular stock market for a long time before I got into crypto, because I got used to those gains, and then like I came to crypto, and I guess I was maybe like a little bit more level-headed. I'm like, holy shit, 50% increase in like a week. Sell, you know what I mean? And there's been times where I missed the top dramatically, but I'm a little bit more conservative, and people are expecting these massive returns, especially if they came in 2017 in like January, and they're like, oh man, I can't believe this. And then like it's like only like 2x. Like that's a crazy return. That's a crazy return in the stock world. I'll give you an example. There's a pharmaceutical company. They're actually a pretty like evil company but they're very famous. It's called Valiant Industries, and they took their stock price from $18 to like $380. So that's like I don't know, like a 10, like a 9 or 10x. And they're like heralded as like one of the craziest stories in Wall Street. And in crypto, I mean, like that's not that crazy to do over 3 or 4 years. You look at some of these other coins that have done like like a couple hundred x, and they don't even have any profit or they don't even have a product. So yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know about what you just said about not products, but I like, for example, Icon 100x at its all-time high. It went from 11 cents, actually over 100x. It went from 11 cents to it was over $12 at one point. Oh, and by the way, I was the idiot that didn't sell. Just so you guys know. So if anyone in this room, thinks that I am not,
that's one thing I was just like, holy shit! I didn't sell, man. I missed the top on that. So.
What's funny is I actually remember looking at my portfolio, and I kid you not, on Christmas Eve with my family. And you could go back and look at the date. You could look at the date, Christmas Eve, and I'm looking at Icon, and I'm just like, I think I could retire soon, And I'm like, this is it for me. And lo and behold, we're like right back where we started. So I don't know.
Exactly. I mean, I remember a point where there was a lot of zeros, man. There was a lot of zeros. And yeah, I made that mistake and I got greedy. And that's the interesting thing, is that there's a certain point where emotions will, if you let them, trump your rational part of your brain. And that's what I try to do every day, is to be rational and think logically and keep my emotions in like the other side of the room, far away.
It's hard, man. It takes a long time, and it takes a lot of discipline, especially when you're mixing emotions with money. That's like the hurricane of destruction. So
yeah, sure. It's like it's like dynamite, or some other explosive material. You're mixing those two together, and it's game over.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, Sia. I mean, we've been talking for over an hour now, and we didn't even get Dan on the channel, which is crazy.
He said he was going to join, but I guess he's too busy for us, man.
It's all right. Some people are just they got better things to do. It's okay.
Oh, either that, or he was trying to find a shirt to like compete with yours, and he's trying to like show you up.
Oh, this wasn't even my fancy shirt, man. You wait. I got a whole closet full of fancy shirts.
I have a badass Hawaiian shirt, man. If you had told me we're doing like a Hawaiian live stream, I would have been all over that.
Absolutely, man. That'd be awesome. So yeah, dude, Sia. I mean, I think we could kind of wrap it up. I had a great time. It was really, really awesome sitting down talking to you. I really appreciate your research. I appreciate you getting down to the ground level. I personally watch your channel. Like, I still watch your channel personally. I appreciate, yeah, man, like the research and the time and the energy that you guys put into. It's about the money, but it's also about the tech. And I love that you are like the perfect marriage between why the tech should be valued at what it is, or why it shouldn't be, and how it's going to help us move forward and really create that utopian decentralized future that we all hope we'll have one day. So
thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you hosting this and giving me this opportunity to chat with you. We've been chatting on Telegram for a while, and it's nice to finally be able to talk in person on the air. And yeah, man, I think we share a lot of the same vision, and I think that people like us, what we're doing is it's really valuable to try to educate, and also not only educate but just bring people together, because there are people out there that might be watching this that are just as into it and just as informed as we are. And I just want to bring those people together and just talk about the tech, talk about the projects, and try to create that level of discourse that's going to help everyone.
I appreciate that. And honestly, that's why I'm more than happy and honestly honored to have you on the channel, because I have a lot of people that come to my channel, right? But I get it.
Yeah.
I do the news. I'm kind of you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm only one person, but you have a team of researchers. You guys are out there. So I encourage people, I'm not the only YouTube channel out there. There's plenty of other guys, but be careful, because not all of them are your friends. So it's very important. It's very important for me that we keep this loop not closed, but, you know, keep a circle of trust. You know, make sure that people have other channels, other outlets, other sources they can go to while they're, you know, busy doing what they have to do, taking care of the family, whatever. You know, people have busy lives. So yeah, man, I'm rambling on, but thank you so much again. And maybe next time we can have Dan. Maybe next time Dan can come on. So
make sure he gets on. And, you know, everybody who's watching this, thanks guys for tuning in. And, you know, hopefully we'll see you guys in the next live stream. We should definitely do this again, get Dan in here, maybe get a couple other people and just have a big, you know, crypto chat session.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I'm going to send you the video so you can get it up on your channel because you didn't get the live stream in. So
for sure.
For everybody watching, link is in the description. Definitely check these guys out. They do really amazing analysis. If you guys want to like get in on those super early projects that no one's talking about, these are your guys right here. So yeah, that being said, yeah, my name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time. Unfortunately, I can't do it that cool with the live stream, but I do love you guys. Take care. If I don't see you, have a great weekend, and hopefully we can get up at some point. And to everybody watching, you know I love you guys. Peace out.
Cheers, guys.